Hey everyone, Vanessa here with Paradox Comedy. Today I'm going to be speaking with Austin Trafalet. He is a stand-up comedian here in San Diego, and he has done shows throughout the county. Actually, you could see him at a Don't Tell show. He's also been in the Comedy Store, and we are going to get to know a little bit more about him today and learn more about his comedy journey. If you guys have any questions while the interview is going on, feel free to go ahead and send that via the chat.
I think I'm here.
You're here. So, thanks for joining me today. I can't believe I've been around watching you at shows for, I guess, almost about 3 years, and I just haven't ever had you on.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to be here. This is my first non-job interview.
I'm just curious because I really don't know much about you at all besides just what I've seen at your stand-up. So, when did you get started in comedy, and what kind of inspired you to do that?
I moved down here in September 2020 to start comedy. I moved down and was doing the living out of my truck thing for 6 months, or probably 3 months. But COVID was going on, so I didn't actually do my first open mic until around May or June 2021. It was sometime around then. So I've been doing 3.5 years. As far as how I started, I was post college, and I was working all these jobs that I felt I don't know, I felt like I could be good at them, but I just had to change everything about my personality and the stuff I liked. I just felt like dying. And so I was trying to find some intersection where I could be myself and still be good at something. And then I watched Bill Burr. I saw one of his specials, I think it was Netflix or something. And it felt like he was talking like how I talk to people I know, not at the level obviously, but just as far as saying what he thinks. And I was like, I want to try that. And then it was 2 years of me just writing in a notebook until I just drove down to San Diego to try.
Why San Diego out of all the comedy scenes? And where are you from originally?
I'm from a really small town in Washington. It's called Toledo. There's 800 people in the whole town. And then I was at the time that I just mentioned, I was post-college in Spokane, Washington. So I'm in Eastern Washington. And then, yeah, I don't know. I didn't want to start out in an A-level scene like LA, New York, Austin. I just thought that starting out there would be too hard to get stage time. I wanted somewhere where I could work, so that left. I was looking at Chicago, which I knew I'd hate Chicago, and San Diego. I ended up going on vacation here for my birthday and getting a job opportunity. So then I was like, this is the place I'm going to do it. And I just moved down 48 hours later. As I flew back, and 48 hours later, I just drove back down.
Dang, that's cool. And then so you're moving out of your truck for the first while that you were doing this.
Yeah, couch surfing, truck. It was, yeah, just wherever I could stay.
And what was it like? Do you remember your first open mic?
Yeah. My first open mic's kind of funny because I was going to open mics because it was back when everything was still outside. ACC was having their mic on the sidewalk. I remember seeing Kylie Troop and Taryn Heffley. I remember those two specifically, seeing them on the sidewalk. Oh, I want to do this. I think I actually messaged Kylie and was like, hey, how do I do this or whatever? She told me how to sign up for ACC. And then the next night, which was a Wednesday, I went down to an open mic in Ocean Beach. And Chuck Myers was taking the tickets to get in. And I talked to him at the door for a little bit, told him I wanted to do comedy, but I wasn't going to do it tonight. And I think if I remember right, he just brought me on stage without telling me. And I just read off my notes. Yeah.
And then how was that experience?
It was weird. It's so much different than going on stage now. It was such a rush. I couldn't even remember what I said or how the crowd really reacted. I remember they were being super nice because he told them I'd never done comedy before. So they were it didn't matter what I said, which was lucky because I remember leaving there thinking I was really good at comedy. And I invited my girlfriend at the time which was in a park, and I went up last, and she was the only one in the crowd. Oh. And it was miserable. I did 30 seconds out of 3 minutes, and I just put the mic on the ground and left.
That is hilarious. Do you still use any of the material from that notebook?
Yeah, actually, yeah. It's in a completely unrecognizable form now, but the original premises, the idea of what I thought was funny, blossomed into some of my bits now, actually. Some of my better ones, but they're completely, none of the words are the same, yeah. Just general idea. Yeah.
That's great. So then after your first open mic, you had that experience, and did you kind of get the bug at that point? You're like, I need to keep doing this, and you're just immediately trying to hit more mics, or just
No, it was the first year of comedy was the worst year of my life, probably. It's this weird thing where it's I'm not I'm pretty outgoing if someone starts a conversation with me, but I'm not good at breaking into circles and being like, "Hi, I'm Austin. Let's be friends." So it's like in comedy, I was just like, I was working a full time, pretty stressful job, and I was up every night till 1 a.m. and not talking to anyone, just sitting there by myself, going up in a room full of people. And I'm obviously terrible at comedy because I just started. So I'm just like performing in front of people who hate me and are like, you suck at comedy, and then not having any friends and going home and not knowing if you're good enough to even, if you should be doing this. It was like the first year wasn't fun. And then after that, once I started to learn to say what I thought was funny instead of what I think the crowd would think was funny, that's when I really was like, oh, I can't stop ever. That was probably like started around a year and a half in. And then
And why did that switch happen, or what caused that for you to realize that?
I'm trying to think of my first, because I remember having an idea initially. I'm like, oh, I think this is funny. Now I have to change everything about it so other people will think it's funny. And then along the way, I got to the point where I would just go up with an idea on stage because I was initially only doing open mics. And so once you start doing like quite a few shows, you don't really care what happens on open mics as much. So I started just going up there and talking, and I realized like my initial drafts were getting more laughs than like my revised versions, and so it just was heading down that road of, I remember having an idea and telling myself I'm not allowed to think about this before I get on stage because I'll ruin it. I'll like automatically have anxiety and try to make it something more digestible instead of just like putting the raw idea out there.
Has your writing style pretty much remained that way, or do you think about joke writing a little bit differently now?
I think it always changes. I'm still so new that it's like I'll never make it if it doesn't continue to change. I do think I'm going in the direction of simplification more often. Like when I started, I tried to be so complicated and add these like complex callbacks and digest this like societal idea. And now I'm just more, oh, this made me laugh today in the car. And I think that's the better way of comedy for my style anyway.
Yeah, it's almost a little bit more genuine. I think that the
Exactly.
audience can sometimes perceive that and then sign on to it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Has there been a time in that first year, or even since then, that you have considered quitting, or you're like, okay, this is a little too tough. I'm not over this.
Yeah, it's been tough because I've had some pretty good like job opportunities. Even when I started comedy, I was like on a pretty good track, and I had to abandon all that to just make $0 and waste all my time. It felt like at the time. So it's, yeah, there was definitely moments all the time like where you're like leaving jobs and relationships, and it just like things come up that would make your life better, and you're like, I can't even think about that because it will get in the way of this. And it's like it's not like abandoning everything for a job where you have a salary and a growth track and you know how to get from one stage to the other. It's like you're abandoning everything for something that almost definitely won't happen, just statistically speaking. So it's, yeah, you have those thoughts all the time. They've never been like, it's never been something I've thought about as should I do this or should I not, but it's definitely crossed my mind of, wow, your life would probably be pretty sick. Put this effort anywhere else. Yeah.
Where do you think, how has your family been reacting to this? Have they been pretty supportive? Have they always seen you as being a stand-up comedian, or is this a surprise to them, or how they receive it?
My family, they're sick. They love pretty much whatever I do. They just think it's cool. But stand up was definitely like an adjust. They're very religious. Like my family's very Christian, and so they just, I never was like comedic around them growing up. I don't feel like. I think the same thoughts came out more like maybe intellectually or argumentatively. I was more of like a smart ass than I was funny. So I think comedy was a bit of a curveball to them. I don't know. My friends would probably have to say, but I think to my friends it more made sense because I was always just goofy and stupid around them. But yeah, no, I don't think my family predicted it, but it's cute. Like my mom now, she like will start like watching comedy on her own, trying to understand me because it's just so
Aww.
boring. And now she's going to like, Nate Bargatze shows and like watching mom comedy, and she loves. I thought she would hate, like my favorite comedian's Bill Burr, I would say, or he's at least in the top few for me. I thought she would hate him. She watched him. I don't agree with what he's saying, but he makes a lot of sense when he talks. It's really funny. Have a perspective on something I never thought I'd hear her talk about.
That's awesome. That's so cute. I love that. So then when you're passing up these other opportunities, they're not like, they're just, yeah, Austin's gonna do what he loves doing. And so there's no real tension there.
I don't always tell them about all the like everything. It's usually just, yeah, I try to forget about it once I did.
Yeah.
Once I did, it was, yeah, it's not like continuous. It's just few moments along the way where you're like, oh no, what do I do here? And then you make a
Is
decision.
is it the actual challenge of the comedy? Is it the art of, I know comics hate when I say that, but like the art of the comedy, or what is it about the comedy itself that is like actually makes you want to pursue that over everything else as a non-comic,
Yeah,
clearly?
yeah. I'm trying to not make it sound too like fruity. It just it feels like I'm not. It doesn't feel like I'm pursuing something external. Like when I do
Mm-hmm.
comedy, it genuinely feels like It always felt like I had a talent, and I thought I'd be a good like attorney, or I thought I'd be good at all this different stuff, and it was like one faucet of my talent, and I could shut off the rest and be good at that. But this, it just feels like I can just do stream of consciousness, and there's something people get out of it, and it. I think it just I think most comedians would say it's like a magnification of themselves that kind of feels good.
Absolutely.
I have no
No,
idea.
it really does. It almost, yeah, it just feels like the most authentic part of who you are, and then you get to
Yeah,
do that. It
I
isn't even a pursuit.
yeah, I think there's a lot of value. I think like a big value of comedy is it's one of the only times people talk about how they feel instead of what they think is correct. And so I think
Mm.
it feels good. It's like the only time where it's, oh, I don't have to justify this. I just feel that way, and that's why. And you get to justify like what's going on inside for 2 seconds, even if you know it's not correct.
Yeah, yeah. That Jewish guy says it's limerence on steroids since we're smart and have ADHD. Honestly, I do agree.
He's the smart one. I don't even know what limerence means.
So I've seen you grow a lot just in the few
Oh,
years and that
thanks.
I've seen you. And yeah, and not that I didn't think that you're like bad
That
people.
was bad. Yeah.
And you're just kind of, oh yeah, that's like where they're at. But then since then, like just seeing even your clips or seeing you live, I'm like, oh wow, he has grown. Like the writing has really gotten so much better, and oh, there's almost like more confidence. Is there anything in particular that you feel has been like a great accomplishment for you? Yeah, even though you're new, but since you've started.
There are a lot of them are hard to articulate because they're for me like you'll get like an accolade or a big accomplishment that's like people can see, but for me the only ones that make me feel better are when I'm like I break through the wording on to make my idea clearer to someone. You know what I mean? It's, oh, I figured out that idea. That's the only thing that makes me feel better throughout my day. Because it's like most of what like makes me feel good or bad in comedy is if I feel like I have potential, if that makes sense. So that's like the internal conversation. I think all comedians struggle with that. And so then when I have a breakthrough with my writing, I'm like, oh, no matter where I'm at in the scene or if I'm growing, it's I have potential, so I'll be fine. Like I have the ability. So it's like a lot of my breakthroughs are just like cutting the fat out, getting the idea across in the funniest and the shortest possible way. That's a lot of what breaks me out. Like I finally broke through this bit with my mom that I was writing. And it's not finished yet, but I was writing it for like probably 9 months and it was just unfunny every way I said it. It was just not fun. It was like personal. And then I had this like thing of, oh, am I just trying to force like personal stuff on people that they can't relate to? And this is just all about me. And I had all those conversations and then the wording just came out of just, oh, I'm just trying to say this, take all these words away, and then it just started doing really well. And so that felt good. Obviously getting to work at the store was awesome. That was probably like my biggest accolade, I'd say. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Actually, did you leave the store?
Yeah, the last week was actually my last week at the store. So I'm out on my own, swimming in my own waters now.
Oh,
Yeah.
can you tell us about your experience at the store? Any pros and cons and what you
Yeah,
liked
no,
about
no,
it?
the store's awesome. I've worked at a few different clubs, and it's the only club where they're like, you're here to be a comic. We're gonna do our best to put that first. Everyone there is a comic, and they don't make you be like act like you're a customer service person or whatever. You can just be stupid the whole time. It's awesome. Like I really enjoyed working at the store. Everyone there is awesome. Yeah, no, I don't think there's many cons to working there. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I do like that. Yeah, exactly what you just said. That you tend to treat their comics as comics
a hundred.
and understand that the door
Yeah.
guys are there for that reason.
And they
No.
care. They seem to like really care about you getting better and stage time, and it's yeah. I think it's an awesome environment.
And I also saw that you've started doing don't tell shows. So can you tell us about those?
Yeah, Don't Tell is awesome. I think they're. I don't know. It's you're always trying to predict what's going to be important, and I think Don't Tell like in the next 5 years, 10 years for comics is going to become like a major. I mean, it already is, but like a major household name of oh they are on Netflix, oh they're on Don't Tell specials, and so it's like just getting to do their shows is awesome. They're always filled. The audiences are always there for comedy, and so they're like shows you just don't have to stress about ever. They're always good.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's cool too because if you start to get to know people within Don't Tell, they're in every city in America. So wherever you're at, more or less every city in America. So wherever you're at, it's like there's a chance you might be able to get on a show, which is cool.
Have you had any experiences hitting the road and doing any travel with comedy? What was that like?
Nothing major. I haven't done, obviously not like a tour or anything, but I've done shows throughout like Arizona and Nevada, obviously California, Washington. I do fundraiser shows back home every year. So we do fundraisers for the local sports team, and each school puts on a show. And this last year, I think we had, I forget, like 6 shows over 2 days that were all sold out, 200 plus people in
Whoa,
every show. It was like, it was amazing. Those are probably my favorite shows I've ever done. They were just like, everywhere. It was like an actual community of people that was just so thankful you were there, and they're like buying you drinks, and they're just there was, yeah, it was just awesome. They were really fun. I got to bring up some people. Bo Johnson from Seattle, I had him come down, and then I did Patrick DeGear from down here in San Diego, and it was just every show was awesome. Yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
How cool. How do you feel like the comedy scene in San Diego has changed since you started to now?
Good question. I don't know. It's always hard to tell. It's always hard to tell if the scene's changed or if you're just at a different part of the scene, because the scene is very like geographical too, as well as there's just different stages. You start out at Madhouse every single night doing the mic, do or die. That's the only thing you do. So the scene feels as if it's all like just downtown is where the scene is. And then you start doing independent shows, and you start doing like Mic Drop or the store, wherever, and then the scene feels bigger. So it's hard to tell if it's changed or if I just have a different perspective. But I will say that I think like a lot of people that have come up in the last 4 or 5 years have done a really good job of producing shows and giving like their fellow comics and newer comics a chance, and being like pretty fair to like, if you want on the show, just here's how you get on the show. You bark, you do this, you do that, and like laying out a path. I think that's really cool.
That is really cool. And that is a really good point too. It's not, you can't really tell if it's the scene changing or where your position in the scene is
Yeah,
that changes.
yeah, yeah.
Is there anything that you're really looking forward to as you continue this comedy journey? It doesn't sound like you're going to be stopping anytime soon. And that is a blessing for comedy audiences because you really are funny and
Thank
you
you. I
have already
appreciate
gotten better, but you keep getting funnier.
So something I look forward to in comedy, getting funnier. I don't know. I don't know.
Is there any
I
show
like
that you're like,
the,
I want to do that?
yeah, again, like when I think about stuff like this, it's more like having to do with the performance than where it's at. Obviously, like I'd love to do shows in like the main room of the store and like the cellar. Those are huge things for me. I'd love everything with Don't Tell is really cool. I'd love to do more with them. But as far as what I look forward to when I really think about it, it's like I like being able to get more personal and real while it being funnier. Because I don't like to sacrifice funny for a goal within comedy. If I'm going to head towards a goal with my writing, it has to be funnier as well. So I'd like to just get more skilled so I can get more personal and more genuine and more authentic with everything I say while it being like funnier as I go.
Thing that strikes me from your responses that are pretty different than what I usually hear on these, and I've done so many of them, right, over the years, is you do seem really internally motivated versus externally validated, which is really unique for comics who tends to, you have to be externally validated in some way because you're performing for an audience. Where do you think that comes from? Or do you notice that you're doing that? Or because it's helped, whatever it's doing?
Yeah, first of all, I'm not all internally motivated. Obviously, like I'm a comic. I got up on stage. I'm the same as every other comic that has that external thing. I think for me, I just know I won't make it if I focus on those like standpoints. Those if I get on this show and then if I get this credit, to me that just will never like amount to anything if I'm not good in my eyes. Like I'm not really great at networking. I'm not really pushy enough to make I don't have the other talents that I think a lot of comedians have. So it's like I have to be really good at comedy. And if I want to make my end goal, the only way to get there is by ignoring everything else I feel like and just, oh no, I have to get good. Like you see that whiteboard behind me right
Yeah.
there. I have 4 more of those, and I just sit in my room and panic every day and just write, just erase everything and write all day. And so I don't know. That's also, it has to be fun for me, and that's what's fun. Like no matter what I was doing as a kid or in college, like I was a writing major, and what I was looking to do professionally, it was like being an attorney. Like it was all like communicating and like clarifying like things going like emotions and thoughts to other people. That's what gratifies me. And so I like doing that in my comedy too. Even when it sounds so stupid, a lot of the comedy, but it is just I feel like this and this is why. But the thing I feel is so stupid that it seems silly, but it takes so much work just to display it.
Yeah, no, I get it. And I just got a flashback to your joke about, I think, your mom hitting a drunk driver or
Yeah,
something like that.
exactly. It's so stupid when you go up there and talk about it. You're like, I want to make this funny, and then I want to make the emotion the drunk driver went through is funny as well, which is tough because obviously he's doing something he shouldn't do, which is drunk driving. But also, it's like he did it pretty well. He was the victim, so it's like you're trying to make all that funny, and it feels good when it works. It just genuinely feels good.
Yeah, and so actually something that I wanted to ask you also is how do you feel like the role of like reels and social media, how that plays into comedy?
It plays huge. I'm just so bad at it. And if anyone who follows me is watching, just stick with me. I'm trying to figure it all out because it's like I put a lot of effort into like just trying to learn it and trying to learn the editing, then trying to learn like how do you even grab attention? Like what if I really like the setup but the setup's too long? And it's just like trying to like navigate all of that has been that's the part that's I don't have fun doing that. That'll be is if I ever get to the point where I can, that'll be the first thing that I just get off my plate. Is I don't even want to think about this. I hate looking at if it gets likes or if it does. I just hate it. Like I feel like it ruins my brain.
Yeah.
So but it plays a huge part. Like I think that's when I really started getting booked like at all. Because I didn't even get on a show for my first 14 or 15 months. I was only open mics for over a year. And then about 2 years in, I started posting, and that was the only time I really started getting booked because people need to see you, and you have to start building a following because then you offer something back to the bookers too. Okay, you can get people to my show, so it is important all the way up till you're selling your own tickets. So it's something you got to figure out. But I look at that more as the job of comedy, and then the rest of it is just I'm so lucky I get to do it at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I appreciate that because a lot of people are just can get really stubborn and like I understand that it's not always like a comic's dream to be sitting there editing their own reels, but it's still kind of part of the process. And it's easy for me as a comedy fan when I'm like, you need to check out this person or hey, this person has a show tonight.
Yeah.
And they're like, who is it? And I was like, I have nothing to show someone.
Yeah.
So it's like having reels to send to people at minimum is just helpful just for marketing.
No, it's for sure. And there's two processes you have to go through to be able to do it. And it sounds weird if you're not a comic, but just watching your material do well or not do well, it doesn't even matter. Like when you first start doing it, that's like the most honest you are with yourself. You're watching yourself do something weird with your face. You're watching yourself stand stiff, or you're watching you do weird twitch or talk fast or whatever you do, voice crack. And you have to just sit there and be like, oh, that's me. That's who I am to other people. And like have this weird existential thing. It goes away. And then you also have to have the conversation of not getting the feedback online that you think stuff deserves and just deal with that and not let it define. It's like there's all these steps that I see. I got hung up on all of them too. But I think it makes you better just watching yourself constantly too. Sometimes I'll watch a bit I've been writing for 9 months and I watch it once and then I'm like, oh, the whole bit is like solved. I just need to move that to here and it's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of benefit to watching yourself and hearing your jokes back to yourself too. Cool. Well, that is all I have for you. And when do you have any upcoming shows or where can we catch you next?
Yes, you can. I should. If I go to my calendar, I wonder if it'll X me on a probably shouldn't. This Thursday. I'm at the Jazzy Wishbone up in Oceanside with Kyle. That's a great show, fun show. Friday, I'm doing Josh Mergel's show in Pacific Beach at whatever gym is across from Mavericks. I don't remember the name, but that show's amazing. Like a 300 seater. That's a really good show.
Cool.
And then I'm doing a Don't Tell Saturday that I have no information on because you don't know till the day of. Yeah.
Is it in North County at all? Do you know where like the general location?
I was probably told. I don't remember. But it just, yeah, all my shows go on my stories. If I post them up there, everyone's free to come. So,
Cool.
yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Austin. Again, it's been really great seeing you continue to grow as a comic, and I know you'll just continue to do that. Thanks again for your time.
Awesome. Thanks so much. It was fun.
It's fun. Thanks.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.